The household was a whirl of activity. A wedding was being planned, arrangements negotiated, and yes, arguments were breaking out. Lisa, age 28, daughter of Kevin and Sheena Grayson, was set to marry Dustin Whiting in 2 weeks. The plan was mostly figured out. The big items had all been addressed. The venue, DJ, caterer, bar, bride's dress, church and flowers had all been taken care of months before. Practically each item was a separate argument between mother and daughter, not an unusual occurrence these days. This wedding had as much tension as so many others, and as so many others, Lisa's father, Kevin, stayed clear to the extent possible. His duty would come in 3 major parts: giving away the bride, the father-daughter dance, and pay the bill. Kevin had slipped out to the garage to get the mower ready to cut grass, while mom and daughter had yet another round of grief about some minor fine point of wedding protocol. Whatever it was, he knew that he wouldn't be interested, and even if he was, his opinion wasn't needed or wanted. He forgot that he wanted a soda while he cruised around on his JD Pride and Joy lawn tractor. When he got back in the house, the mother-daughter discussion had become even louder, and he hoped to sneak to the refrigerator and grab a cold one without being noticed. The fridge was located in a nook somewhat out of sight of the women, and he was nearly successful. He had retrieved his drink, but the subject of the argument grabbed his attention. Lisa was telling her mom that her girlfriends had a bachelorette party lined up at her friend's house, with 3 male entertainers. Sheena was desperately trying to talk her daughter out of having the entertainers, especially at a private home where rules don't apply. "Yes, Mom, it would bother me. I guess if I found out something like that, I might not go through with the ceremony. I don't know for sure. But this is my time, and I want my night of cutting loose." With all of the social media, live time selfies with only tipsy girls to protect your secret, the odds of his finding out are not in your favor. Think of how he would feel if he found out Sheena countered. Then the bombshell dropped. Lisa challenged her mother. "Is that what you were thinking about when I caught you cheating on Dad 10 years ago? Were you concerned with how he would feel?" Sheena didn't have a chance to answer her daughter. A thud was heard and both women turned to see Kevin near the refrigerator. He was standing there, mouth open, hand now empty, the can having fallen with a thud. Sheena covered her face and ran out of the dinette, up the stairs to the bedroom and locked the door. Lisa said, "Daddy, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I can't keep my big mouth shut," then moved to embrace her father, but he resisted her. "Tell me what you know." "I want the truth, Lisa. If you don't want your world blown up too, start talking." "Daddy, this is something you need to talk to Mom about. I've really messed up here. Is there any way we could just back up 10 minutes and pretend that I never said anything?" "Not a chance." "Now tell me what you know, Daddy. Please don't hate her. She only slipped a little and never did again. It was 10 years ago. Please, can't you just forgive her and not pursue this? It was so long ago. For you and her, it may have been a long time ago." "No, I'm not going to pretend that all is okay. I know you are hurt by this." "Daddy, I understand. Please listen to Mom. She loves you with all of her heart." "No, you don't understand. Maybe if you found out that Dustin has been spending a lot of time with that blonde waitress down at Herb's Diner for the last 2 months, then maybe you would have some idea. No more stalling, tell me. Tell me everything that you know and how you know it. Now." "All right, since she ran off instead of facing you, and you do have a right, here it is. When I was 18, you had to go away for special training on new equipment at your work. I don't remember what it was called, do you?" "Yes, I remember. I wanted the promotion at work and that training was mandatory. I did it for all of us, a short-term sacrifice to make a better living, for my family. Daddy, I realized that you and Mom had been married for 20 years then, but it was the first time Mom had ever been left alone. I know that's not an excuse, but it's still true. I wasn't supposed to be home for spring break for another day, but I was able to get all my class work done, and 2 of my professors wanted to get going also, so they canceled their classes. I wanted to surprise her. She had sounded so lonely on the phone when I called from college, especially the last month. I guess I surprised her more than I had wanted to. I slipped in the side door, like you did just now, and I heard strange sounds coming from the family room. I peeked in and a man was sitting on the sofa. Mom only had jeans on. Neither one knew I was there. Suddenly they saw me and Mom started crying and asked the man to leave. She tried to start explaining, but I was calling her a cheater and didn't want to hear anything she had to say. That night, when you called to say hi, she had begged me to not let on, to at least wait until you came home and you could be told face to face by her or me. I agreed to hold off, not wanting you to face that kind of news while you were away from home. Besides, you were due to be back before I returned to college. Before you got home, we had several talks, and I was beginning to forgive her. She really seemed to regret what she had done. She even admitted that the day I caught her wasn't the first time, but promised that it had been the last. She said that she had been so lonely with both of us being away, that she had made a horrible mistake, something that she had never done before. We also talked about what would happen when you found out. We agreed that divorce was the most likely outcome. I didn't want that, and all I had to do was keep quiet. Mom said if I felt that I was betraying you, that I should tell and she would have to face her punishment. Please forgive me, Daddy, but I could not stand the idea of you two splitting up, so I promised Mom that I'd never tell, if she promised to never again betray you. Lisa was deflated. The years of holding that secret had taken a toll. To Lisa, it seemed that Kevin's time in hell had just started. Did you get a look at the guy, Lisa? Daddy, I can't. Please don't ask that. Things are bad enough as it is, and it doesn't matter who she did it with. So, you know who it was, don't you? I can't say, maybe Mom will tell, but I doubt it. I'm sorry, be upset with me if you must, but I'm not telling. You know that I can't be upset with you. This thing is not your fault, and I'll not put you in the middle of it. That's not fair to you. This is between your mother and me. Daddy, I'm going upstairs and talk to Mom. Maybe I can calm her down a little. Please don't leave. You and I will talk later about the other stuff. Lisa, I need to leave the house for a while. I'll be back around dinner time, and no matter what else is going on, you and I are going to have a talk, Kevin said, then left. For 10 years, Sheena had been dreading having to have this talk with her husband. It was the day of reckoning. Lisa went to her mother's door and knocked softly and in a hushed tone said, Mom, it's me. Can I come in, please? Sheena went to the door and opened it. Both women were in tears. Mom, I'm so sorry that I opened my big mouth. This isn't on you, Lisa. This is my cross to bear. I did this to our family. I don't know if I can get your father to forgive me, but I have to try. Is he downstairs? No, he said he had to leave the house but would be back for dinner. Where did he go? Sheena asked. I don't know, a cafe, maybe, Lisa guessed. I guess I can't blame him for wanting a drink. I just hope he doesn't get into trouble. I can't stand the thought that my actions might cause him even more pain. At 6 p.m. Sheena heard the garage door open and close. She descended the staircase and moved to the dinette where her husband was seated, waiting with the look of a man hurt beyond eternity. Her words were hard to force out. I had hoped that this day would never come, that you would become aware of my disgrace. You cheated on me, he asked, already knowing the answer. I never wanted to hurt you. It was so long ago. Please, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? I've spent every minute of the last 10 years trying to be the best wife possible to make up for my mistake. 10 years of deception, some would say. By the way, is she really my daughter? He said, not having any doubt about Lisa's genes. He said it to be hurtful. He succeeded. After a deep breath, in an attempt to hold back tears at the knife Kevin had just shown her, she stammered out, you know very well she's yours. She was 18 when I messed up. She was supposed to be at college. But she caught us. Who was it? He demanded. I can't tell you who. It would just cause more trouble and make moving past this more difficult than it has to be. You assume a lot. What makes you think our marriage will definitely continue? That statement shocked her, and she burst into tears. You would tear apart our family after 30 years over my one foolish mistake. Don't you love me? You cheat and then turn it around on me? Please don't go that far. I'll do anything to make it right, to regain your trust in me. I'll offer this. Tell me everything now, and I'll take no action until after our daughter's wedding. She can get married while still having a complete family. It's an attempt to deceive me, and I'll consult a lawyer immediately. Now decide, he ordered. I agree to confess everything. Our daughter's wedding shouldn't be ruined. Then start with who you cheated with. She tried stalling, please don't bring that up. Before she finished, Kevin got up, shook his head to show that she had crossed the line, and took 3 steps toward the stairs when Sheena blurted out, Sam, it was Sam. Oh my, you'll hate us both forever. I'm so sorry. My so-called good friend Sam. You and him did this to me. Why? It was when you went away for 3 months to take that training course. I had never been alone before. I had trouble handling you and Lisa both not being here. I called Sam to come over a couple of times to fix some household things. A leak under the sink. Then a door lock came apart. When he did, I invited him to have a coffee, and we talked. At the second visit, I broke down a little and cried about being lonely. He scooted his chair closer and put his arm around me, trying to comfort me. So you were fully aware of the dangerous situation you were in? But that wasn't the end of it, was it? There was anger in his voice now, something she hadn't heard before. No, I wish it ended there, but it didn't. He came back the next day to check if I was all right and not upset over what we had done. I should have told him that I was fine and to go home, but the truth was I enjoyed his company. I swear that I did not invite him in for anything more, but comforting turned into hugging, then touching. It happened again. I felt ashamed, disgusted that I couldn't resist the loneliness for the short time you were gone. I was determined to end my cheating before you returned. I wanted to stop, but I was weak. During the third encounter, Lisa came home early from college and found us together. I don't have to draw you a picture. She screamed at me and Sam, ranting about our betrayal of the best man, best friend, best husband possible. The following days were tense between Lisa and me. In the end, I told her that it was her decision whether or not to tell you, but I wished that we waited until you could be told face to face. We both knew it would break your heart, and I made a promise to her that I would never betray you or her again. She strongly believed that you would likely divorce me, so we decided on silence. I was grateful. I promise this is the entire shameful truth. I can't describe how awful I feel, hearing that you gave yourself to another man in our own home. And Sam, my friend, well, I made a deal, and I will keep my word. There is more to this than you know, but you won't have to wait long to find out, just until after the wedding. Sheena felt a great sadness that the relationship between her and her love had turned into this. She also wanted to know what she didn't know, but things were so strained that she couldn't risk pressing him for answers. The next day, family discussions focused on the wedding once again, although the tension from the previous day was still present. Kevin kept his word and didn't bring up Sheena's infidelity. He stayed out of the wedding discussions and arrangements, thinking it was best to keep quiet and go along with whatever the women decided. Later, Lisa approached her father and asked to speak privately, which he agreed to. It turned out they were both concerned about the same thing, her bachelorette party. They went into the den, and when the door closed, Lisa said, "Daddy, I need to talk about my party." I thought so, he said, having second thoughts, I hope. "Yes, Daddy, I know you overheard enough yesterday before. Well, before I said what I did to Mom, I guess you figured out my plans. Now, after seeing how hurt you were, and Mom too, having that awful secret hanging over her head for all those years takes away any desire for some unnecessary fun that could go wrong," she admitted. "I'm glad you're reconsidering. It would have hurt Dustin deeply, possibly enough to end any future with you." "Honestly, if I were him and found out, it would be over," he said. "Is that what you're going to do to Mom? Leave her? Oh God, Daddy, she'll be devastated. She's so sorry. Please give her another chance." "Baby, I love you. But this is between your mother and me. You don't get a say. We won't talk about it further, understand?" "Yes, Daddy, I understand," she said. "Okay," said. "Let's focus on what we came here to discuss. I'm canceling the bachelorette party. I've already decided that. The girls will give me a hard time, but I now understand that it's not worth risking our future for some unnecessary fun that could go wrong. It's me who's risking everything. Yes, it is, sweetheart. You would be risking not only your happy future, but Dustin's as well, and he wouldn't even be a part of it. Only you would have gained something, a false sense of excitement, but taking a risk for both of you. When you put it that way, and that is how it was going to be, I don't think I deserve him. Come on, sweetheart, you'll make him a wonderful wife. You didn't go through with it, no father, I didn't. But we both know I was planning to, until I blurted out what I did to Mom when she was trying to talk sense into me. And now I've ruined your lives too. I'm so sorry. My big mouth, I don't deserve any of you. You can't take the blame for your mother. She has to face her own guilt. As for your intentions, you need to forgive yourself and use that close call as a reason to dedicate yourself to Dustin. That's the thing, Daddy. I don't think I'll be able to fully forgive myself until I confess to Dustin. I owe him the opportunity to end things if he wants to. What I was going to do would have been unforgivable. I need to tell him the truth, so if it slips from one of my friends, he'll already know. I should let him decide if he still wants me. Honey, I don't think you should, but it's your decision. If that's what you're going to do, then do it right away. She sent Dustin a text. It's important that you come here after work. Something important. Love, Lisa. Around 6 p.m., Dustin knocked on the door and was let in by Kevin. The two men exchanged greetings. Then Dustin was shown to the den where Lisa was waiting, her eyes fixed on the floor, making Dustin uneasy. "What's wrong, baby?" he asked. "Please sit down. I have something important to tell you." You might be upset with me after, and you don't have to answer me right away, she said in a low voice. I could never be upset with you. I love you, he reassured her. Dustin, you know the girls were planning a bachelorette party for me, right? Yeah, I know. The guys are planning something for me too, but don't worry, I won't let them do anything that could hurt you. She started crying and mumbled, I know, you are the most decent man a woman could ever have. But I need to tell you about mine. Don't get all emotional. I figured that you are going to have some fun. Just not too much, okay? It's not like you were going to let them have a bunch of dancers over and have a party with you. She put her face in her hands, sobbing, not able to speak, causing Dustin to panic and start jumping to conclusions. That's why you asked me here. To tell me that you already had the party and that you danced with some performer. Dustin had never said anything like that in her presence before, and it made it even more difficult for her to continue. Dustin jumped up from the chair. Oh my goodness, Lisa, you did that? Ruined us, only days before we're married. Panicking that he was about to tell her that they were through, she mustered up enough courage to speak. No, Dustin, my love. The party has not happened yet. I have not done any of those things. Bewildered, he sat back down. Then what the heck is the matter? This time she was able to tell him the whole story, except leaving out her mom's infidelity. She said, Dad overheard my heated discussion with Mom. She was raising heck with me for giving the okay to have dancers at my party. It came out that I was all right with having a last hurrah doing stuff with the dancers. Then Dad brought me into the den and reamed me out. He told me that if he was the groom, he would dump me like garbage. She finished by saying, Daddy made me see it from your point of view, how awful it would be, how hurtful. I'm so sorry. I felt that I had to tell you. I didn't want you to hear it from someone else. I had to give you the chance to break up with me if you want. I know that I don't deserve a person like you. Dustin was silent for several moments. Lisa looked at the floor, not able to face him. Then, standing again, he spoke, so let me get this straight. You were arguing with your mom, her saying don't do it, and you insisting that it was your right to have fun with those dancers and have this last hurrah. And if it hadn't been for your dad, you would have done it? That about it? She just nodded. And now what? You want me to say, oh, it's okay, you didn't actually do it? Is that what you expect? I'm so ashamed and sorry. I'm praying that you can find it in your heart to forgive me and that you still love me. I don't know how to react to this. For right now, the wedding is off. You made the mess, so it's up to you to cancel everything and tell everyone, including my parents. I should demand that you tell them the actual reason. But I don't think that I want my mother to hear that the intended future mother of her grandchildren was going to randomly have fun with a bunch of dancers. This last statement from him cut into Lisa's soul deeper than anything in her life. Imagining that her mother-in-law could become aware of her intended actions made her stomach constrict. She thought, how could I ever face her? Do not contact me. If I decide to talk anymore, I'll call you. There's nothing to say or explain, no reason to see each other. Finished, he abruptly got up and left the den, slamming the door, walking right past Sheena without an acknowledgement. So much had changed for the Grayson family in a short time. 2 days before, they were within 2 weeks of having family and friends celebrate their daughter's wedding to a terrific young man. Through the course of that day, the bride-to-be's plan for a wild time was uncovered, which also had exposed an affair by her mother. It was agreed that the discussion to determine Sheena and Kevin's marital future was to be put off until after Lisa's wedding. The next day, wedding planning got back underway, albeit under a dark cloud. Guilt had been gnawing at Lisa ever since her dad lectured her the previous day. Feeling that she had to come clean to her betrothed immediately, Lisa confessed to Dustin, who canceled their nuptials. That act rescinded the postponement of a resolution to the recently discovered infidelity by Sheena. In 2 days, the Graysons had gone from bliss to a train wreck. When Dustin left, Kevin and Sheena came into the den. Lisa filled them in. The wedding was on an indefinite hold. At best, at worst, canceled forever. Sheena asked, what does that mean, Lisa? It means that I messed up really bad. He is incredibly angry. I gave him good reason. Mom, would you mind if I talk to Daddy alone for a bit? Lisa asked. No, not at all. I think I already know why, Sheena said, then left, closing the door to the den behind her. You want to ask me what I'm going to do about your mother? Yes, Kevin cut right to the point. Yes, Daddy, now that my wedding is off, she needs to be told if you are going to separate from her or not. Making her hold on to some false hope is cruel. The father that I think I know pretty well wouldn't do that. You must tell her where she stands. I don't need to tell you that she loves you with all of her heart, and she is as remorseful as she could possibly be. Please, Daddy, I wish to God that I had kept quiet. I wish that I hadn't been so stupid and selfish. Mom and I wouldn't have been arguing, and none of this would have happened. Sweetheart, as for Dustin, stop worrying, he'll come around. As for the other, there is more to it than you know, and from here on out you are out of it. Okay. Oh, one other thing, have you told anybody, anything whatsoever, about your mom and Sam? She told you about Sam? Okay, Daddy, I'll stay out of it, and no, I haven't said a word, not to anybody, including my best friends, not about Uncle Sam and Mom. It will be dealt with soon, then a lot of decisions will be made. Your cheating was theoretical, you didn't actually do it, you might have backed out at the last minute. Others have actually committed the act, the consequences to that are yet to be resolved. There is much more to this than you know, more than you will ever know. It is none of your business, he said. Kevin had made it clear to his daughter that she was to stay out of any discussion concerning his marriage to her mother. Uncle Sam not really her uncle or anything else related to those matters. He also told her that she was to make herself scarce the following evening. She agreed. Kevin went to the kitchen and asked Sheena if she had said anything to anyone about her and Sam. When she shook her head no, he told her to call Sam and Debbie and invite them over for dinner the following evening. Sheena gasped at the thought of the likely upcoming confrontation. It sickened her to know that she was going to be required to confess to a dear friend that she had an affair with her husband. The call was made, and the invite was accepted. Dinner that night started off just like the many times that this group had sat down together over the years. The steaks were great. Sheena had outdone herself with the meal. The women cleaned up the kitchen while the men retired to the family room for another drink. In short order, the two women joined them, a glass of wine in their hands, Sheena's shaking noticeably. As the two women entered, an unexpected shift occurred. Kevin stood and directed Sheena to sit on the sofa next to Sam, while Kevin wrapped an arm around Debbie and they turned together to face their spouses. Sheena knew the anger of her husband was about to come out and cringed silently into the edge of the seat. Sam, very aware that something unusual was brewing, tried to make a little joke. Kevin, if I didn't know better, I'd think that you were about to suggest a swap. He expected a laugh from everyone, but when that didn't happen, he looked sheepishly inquisitive, saying, Kevin, it's somewhat amusing that you are the only one here that has no clue as to how close to the truth that is. Time to bring you up to speed and also inform Sheena with the rest of the details of this mess, he said, and hugged Debbie a little tighter. Sam had now perceived that tonight's discussion would involve his and Sheena's affair and began to squirm in his seat, wondering if his friend of so many years was about to hit him. Sheena's anxiety level also leaped up because she thought she was up to speed. Again, she wondered what it was that she didn't know. Kevin looked to Debbie to invite her to take the lead. Sheena, Sam, my dear friend and my loving husband, Kevin and I have known about your affair since right after it started. On one of those little repair trips you made to help out Sheena, I thought that I'd tag along and help her beat the blues also. So after I finished loading the washing machine, I came over here. I didn't knock. After all, my loving husband was already here, so I let myself in through the side door. I wanted to help her too. Sam started a defense, baby. It didn't. Debbie held up her hand. She'd been waiting 10 years to lay this on them and would not be cut off, although I wasn't planning on being with her to cheer her up. I didn't know what to do, but I decided that Kevin needed to know. The picture would prove that I hadn't misunderstood. I wanted Kevin's help. I decided to wait until he came back and not let on that I had caught you two in the act. When Sam finally came home, reeking of you, I pretended to be sick, not really pretending I guess, and distanced myself from Sam under the guise of sickness. Kevin took the lead. We were so mad at you two, but now that your lie has come out, we'll share ours. We took comfort in each other. Each of us was still in love with our partner, although right at that time, I don't think either of you deserved any sympathy or compassion from us. We decided that we did not want to divorce you because of our own feelings toward you, because our children would suffer and the embarrassment we would all suffer. For those reasons, we decided to stay silent and stay married, as if nothing had happened. We also decided that we needed something ourselves, some revenge that you wouldn't know about. For me, the pain of imagining Sheena being with you or being close to you. Debbie stared into Sam's eyes, wanting to see his hurt, his humiliation, and said, don't sugarcoat it, Kevin. She got her revenge. Her husband was crushed. Sam looked at his friend and screamed, you did that with my wife? As Sam was standing up, and it looked as though the two men were going to come to blows, Debbie said, equally as loud, "Well, you have been with Sheena, jerk." Her outburst had the effect of throwing cold water on two fighting dogs. Both men sat back down into their chairs. Sam's knee-jerk reaction was replaced with shame. He was unable to look anyone at the table in the eyes. Kevin was handling the situation better. He had 10 years to prepare. Then Debbie turned her stare to Sheena, who looked away, too embarrassed to look into her friend's eyes. Sheena was looking into her husband's eyes, pleading for his affection when Debbie stuck a figurative knife in her gut and twisted the blade, saying, "I loved spending time with your husband, and the way he treats me is amazing." Sheena couldn't hardly respond. She had not expected this. The reality that her husband, her love, had spent time with another woman devastated her. She stammered, while looking back and forth between Kevin and Debbie, no. Please tell me that you're only saying that to hurt me." "Kevin, you spent time with her?" "No, it wasn't love. We did it to soothe the ache in our hearts. At the time, we felt that getting even was the only way we could continue our marriages," replied Kevin. "You two have been seeing each other, betraying us for 10 years to get even?" Kevin was asked by a tortured Sam. "No. At first we thought that doing the same thing you did settled something. Truth is, we didn't feel even at all. You two took something away that could never be replaced, never be fixed. What Debbie and I did helped us cope, but after a couple of times it was realized that we needed to stop. Nothing further was being accomplished. Your feelings weren't being crushed like ours were, because you didn't know what we had done. If we told you, then we were back to the likelihood that divorces would follow. Being able to pretend that all was okay between the four of us was moderately successful. I could still love my wife. Anytime dreadful thoughts of you being with her tried to enter my mind, I would replace them with thoughts of enjoying Debbie's wonderful company, which served to check the negative images. We were prepared to confess our betrayal the day you two took responsibility and sought our forgiveness, but you never did. So you two only spent time together twice in all of this time?" asked a sniveling Sheena. "No, 3 times. The day Lisa let the truth slip, I left the house to let Deb know that the situation had resurfaced, and Kevin, you spent time with my wife the day before yesterday?" Sam cut in, speaking with agony in his voice. "No, he spent time with me. We had a great time together. Then I let him take me out for a movie," said Debbie, giving Sam and Sheena another blow to absorb. Sheena reacted, no, please no. "Oh my God, you spent time with her 2 days ago." Then looking at Sam, she said, "What have we done? Why did the two of you have to go and do it one more time? Was your rage not satisfied after all of these years?" Sam asked, with Sheena nodding in agreement. As Kevin began to answer, Debbie jumped in, "This one is more on me." "Thanks, Kevin. I know that you were about to take the blame on my behalf. We need more truth at this table, so this falls to me. I needed the two of you to have the act of betrayal to be fresh, like it was when Kevin and I had to suffer it. Revealing a 10-year-old betrayal doesn't have the sting that finding out that only 2 days before, your spouse was spending time with someone else. I needed you two to hurt like I did. I'm sorry if that seems petty. Actually, no, I'm not sorry." Then Sheena spoke, "Kevin, Debbie, I'm so sorry for my actions, and please know that I wrestled with telling you both the truth for years, although with each passing year it became easier to stay silent." Then looking into Debbie's eyes, she said, "My husband's betrayal with you is absolutely due to Sam and me doing what we did. Our fault completely. I was so scared that Kevin would divorce me. I just hoped that I had got away with a very bad mistake. Please forgive me." Sam spoke with sincerity. "I also need to apologize. We never intended to let it get out of hand like that. As soon as you came back, Kevin, we never spent time with each other again. That's the truth, but I too was afraid to tell, afraid of what would happen, and it was easier to take the coward's way out. So I just stayed quiet and hoped for the best. I am sorry, so very sorry." Kevin then said, "Well, here we are. No more secrets. We'll now have to decide how, or if, to move forward. All 4 of us are going to have to express what we can or cannot go along with, what we each want our future to be. Perhaps we should call it a night, do some serious thinking, then go from there." Sheena answered quickly, directed to Kevin, "I wouldn't presume to speak for anyone else, but I know my answer right now. I know exactly what I want. My husband. I want my husband back. Based on what you've said here, this thing with Debbie is over. I want to be your full-time wife, with absolutely no secrets between us ever again. But I will say that as much as I love you, I cannot continue being married if you intend to make Sam and I endure witnessing you and her dishing out unending punishment. I know I couldn't handle that either. Sheena and I did the worst thing a spouse can do to their mate. I know that, but tonight's revelation has scarred my heart. I'm not ready tonight to say what I want. My wife has told me that she spent time with another man. As if that wasn't bad enough, she also did something that she's never allowed me, that hurt bad, very bad. Sam croaked out, his voice trembling. My turn, I guess, said Debbie. I want to wait, also give tonight's confessions time to sink in. I do know that I love you, Sam, despite 10 years of lying to me, but Kevin and I have been lying to you and Sheena too. I don't think that it is possible to have cheating balanced on the scales with more cheating. I do know that whether we stay together or not, the deceit has to stop. Oh, and by the way, Sam, for the record, since we're adopting honesty, Kevin never did what you thought he did. I just said that to hurt you. It was a cheap shot. You succeeded. I don't think I'll ever forget those words, even if you just made them up. I guess I deserved it, especially if saying that helped restore your dignity, Sam added. Sam, what she said, it didn't happen. We did other things, but not that. Kevin said while gesturing toward Debbie. Look, a lot has been said, more has been exposed. Let's let it sink in and get back together in a few days. I think our paths will be much clearer by then, Kevin concluded. Everyone shook their heads in positive agreement. Sam and Debbie went home. After they left, Sheena took hold of Kevin's hand and said, I do know what I want. I want my husband, who I love with all of my heart. Let me know when you decide what it is that you want. She then went upstairs to get ready for bed. Kevin went into the den with a freshly poured drink to contemplate the evening's events. He finished his drink and made another. An hour later, he went upstairs to their bedroom. Sheena cried softly until she dozed off. Her husband was back. Debbie called Sheena the next morning and suggested that she and Sam didn't need any more time. How about you and Kevin come over to our place tonight? Sheena muted the call and related the request to Kevin as he came into the kitchen for a second cup of coffee. Baby, they want us to come over to their place tonight. Deb says they are okay now. Sure, if they are ready, we are. Let's get this awful thing behind us. That night, both couples, longtime friends, sat down together. They had a specialty of Debbie's, baked lasagna. Then after cleaning up, it was showtime. It was Sam's burden to begin. The way I see this, I'm the most guilty of all of us. Sheena was lonely. I didn't set out to do. Well, you know, but I should have prevented it, and I did not. Sheena spoke. It's not all your fault. I was a grown-up woman. I could have stopped it. It wasn't right. I'm just as guilty. No excuses. Debbie spoke next. You two failed because of weakness. What Kevin and I did was deliberate. There is friendship between Kevin and I, but I was never in love with him. We acted out of anger, wanting to hurt the two of you, and when you never confessed, we chose to believe we were justified. What we did was very wrong. Maybe we should have confronted you both, but we were also afraid that if the truth came to light, there would have been divorce. As Deb's right. I think that down deep, if we confronted you then, we would have broken up. However, that does not excuse our behavior, Kevin added. I think Sheena will back me up. I want to drop this here tonight. I want my partner and I want my friends back. Can we all agree that we've made some awful mistakes, and it would be wise to bury them here tonight and never speak of this matter again? Can we all forgive each other? Life is short, and I don't want to waste any more of it, proclaimed Kevin. The entire group was nodding approval of Kevin's words when Sam asked, You said bury it here? Do you mean figuratively or symbolically? Figuratively, right? No, wait a minute. I like symbolism. I'm Catholic, offered Sheena. Debbie chuckled at Sheena's remark about liking symbolism because of being Catholic and added, Yeah, me too. We could find a little box or something, each write a small note, an apology or something, place it inside and actually bury it, offered Deborah. As I see it, we all made this mess. I think we should all build the coffin together. Each of us takes a piece of wood, form the four sides, place the notes inside, and together seal the two ends. Kevin said, expanding on the idea. I've got just what we need. I'll be right back, said Sam as he went out to his garage. He came back with 4 5-inch long slats, 2 inches wide and 1/4 inch thick. He also had 2 smaller square pieces, glue and a box of brad nails and a small hammer. He handed 1 slat to each. Write your name on it. We all helped build this terrible thing that could tear us apart, he said. They did, plus they each wrote a short note. The coffin was assembled by each person attaching their piece with the glue brads. All 4 notes were slid inside and then it was sealed. The notes went inside without being read aloud, but were all nearly word for word identical. Each expressed great sorrow for the part that they had played, not only hurting their spouse but damaging the entire group. A spot was selected halfway between their two houses, near the lake at the park. The four took turns with a shovel and put to rest the last of this terrible thing that nearly broke apart 2 marriages and 4 good friends. As the last shovel of dirt was patted down, the 4 stood in a circle, hugging each other. Sam said, "I swear that I'll never divulge any bit of this horrible thing to anybody, ever." Debbie, Kevin, and Sheena added their own oath for silence in the matter. Sheena suggested, "I think that we should each forgive each other one final time." The entire group agreed. In turn, they hugged each other, sharing forgiveness. Then Kevin said, "This shall never be spoken of again." Epilogue: for 3 weeks, Lisa had become extremely depressed. All of the wedding plans had been called off, and she was regretting that she had told Dustin the truth. She respected his request and made no attempt to contact him, but she did keep tabs on him through mutual friends. He was living the life of a recluse, only going to work, spending time at his favorite pub, and staying inside at his parents' house. She had done this to him. Her own selfish trait to only care about the things that amused her, by all indications, had caused her to lose a wonderful partner. Their mutual friends were keeping watch on her also, and told him that there was a chance that she might try to hurt herself. They said, "The pain that she knows she has caused prevents her from discussing anything with a future context. No talk of returning to work, she quit. Won't go out with any friends, let alone by herself. Just stays in her room, mostly crying. She denies it, but she was overheard talking to herself, that everyone would be better off if she was gone." Hearing this somewhat snapped Dustin out of his funk. He was still highly upset at her, but the thought of her harming herself shook him. Even in the middle of this turmoil, he subconsciously knew 2 things. 1, that he wanted her back, and 2, that eventually he would forgive her. Now he knew he had to act immediately, before an irreversible tragedy occurred. He called her. She answered weakly, expecting bad news. He said, "Lisa, I want to talk to you. If you're calling to tell me that we're through for good, please don't. I can't bear to hear it. Just hang up and I'll know. I'm so sorry. No, I need to talk to you. I'm coming over right now." He hung up quickly. He didn't want an argument. 20 minutes later, he knocked on the door and was greeted by Kevin. There was a handshake and a nod to Sheena, who had stepped into the foyer. Then he was led to the den where Lisa was waiting. Lisa stared at the floor as he came in and stood in front of her. Dustin spoke first. "I am still really upset at you. But I have a problem. I'm still in love with you. I've tried to shake loose of you for 3 weeks and I just can't let go. They told you that they heard me say something, and that's why you're here, isn't it?" she said. "First, let me say that now is the perfect time for us to continue to have nothing but honesty between us. You started it with the confession to me 3 weeks ago, which shocked me and I haven't recovered yet. But to answer your question truthfully, yes, they did tell me that you were overheard saying that everyone would be better off if you were gone. And yes, that is what caused me to call tonight. I have known in my gut that I was going to forgive you eventually, but until now, I just didn't want to be reminded of what you were going to do, and I wasn't ready to forgive yet. However, if you harmed yourself, I would never be able to forgive myself for allowing that to happen. I had to stop us continuing down this destructive path. I need you in my life, but you hurt me very deeply. I'm still in love with you. That's the truth. You still love me. Oh my God, do you? Please tell me again." And she jumped up out of the chair and rushed to embrace him. Surprising her, he reached out and caught hold of her arms, preventing the hug that she so desperately needed, saying, "We aren't fixed yet. I'm going to need some more time, and I'm going to require some concessions from you. Tell me what I need to do. I'll do anything to get you back. You've damaged my trust in you and caused me to question whether you truly love me or not. I know you're saying that you love me, but considering what you were going to do, to mess around with a couple of random people, days before our wedding, throws a great deal of doubt on that claim of your love for me being genuine. So if we resume an exclusive dating relationship, I will require you to agree to surrender your phone or allow me access to your laptop at any time. Further, if another wedding is agreed upon, a prenuptial document must be signed stripping you of everything except what you brought into the marriage if you cheat on me. Can you agree to that?" he asked. "Yes, I agree that I need to prove the depth of my love for you. I caused this, and I will spend the rest of our lives making you certain that taking me back was a good decision," she said, without fully grasping all that he had said. All she really heard was that he would take her back, and she did agree that there was penance required from her. "All right then, I'll call when I am ready. We'll go out. We're going to move slowly. but you must wait until I'm ready. Agreed, yes, I understand. When you are ready, we'll go at whatever pace you want, she said, wanting more, but happy with what he offered. When Dustin left, Sheena could see the concern in her daughter's eyes. She asked, "Honey, is everything all right now?" "No, Mom. There's still some challenging days ahead. I'm lucky that he didn't break it off with me completely. He said that while we are not done, he's not ready to forgive yet, and I am scared to death that he'll change his mind. I'll have to wait it out. It will be the most difficult thing that I've ever had to do. But he told me that he still cares about me, and I'll hold on to that." Lisa was thrilled that her parents had worked out their trouble and would remain together. They had informed Lisa that the issue was over, but she was never advised of the entire mess made by the group. A week after Dustin came to make sure Lisa didn't do anything impulsive, he made a decision regarding his former fiancée. Although he hadn't fully gotten over her intended mistake, he acknowledged that she was truly regretful for her selfish intentions and took her out on a date. They resumed their relationship, but it was another year before Dustin was ready to tie the knot. This time all went off without disruption. There was a celebration, but no adult entertainers. Fine,